Even as we grieve, we give thanks for this most faithful life. I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibility.
The British monarchy has survived wars, abdications, assassinations, and constitutional crises for nearly 1,000 years, outlasting empires and overcoming countless scandals. Yet in the spring of 2026, an unprecedented situation is unfolding inside Buckingham Palace. A reigning king is quietly transferring real authority to his son not through abdication or public illness, but through a deliberate, behind-the-scenes shift of power. King Charles is stepping back while Prince William moves forward, and unexpectedly, Queen Camilla has emerged as the central obstacle in this transition. This is not mere rumor or tabloid speculation. Growing evidence and insider accounts suggest that palace power dynamics have permanently changed. The turning point may be remembered as February 19, 2026, a date historians could compare to the abdication crisis of 1936. On that day, Prince Andrew, Duke of York and son of the late Queen Elizabeth II, was arrested on allegations of sharing confidential government documents with individuals linked to the Jeffrey Epstein network, sending shockwaves through the royal institution. Buckingham Palace descended into chaos as media outlets surrounded its gates and social media erupted worldwide. Amid the confusion, Prince William reportedly acted with preparation and clarity, having long anticipated a crisis of this scale. Royal commentator Maureen Callahan claimed that King Charles had effectively already handed over much of the crown's responsibility, preferring to avoid direct involvement despite the threat to the monarchy's future. This transition, however, was not a sudden reaction. Its foundations had been laid years earlier. Biographer Russell Myers revealed that palace aides had warned about Prince Andrew's behavior long before the scandal exploded publicly, warnings that William took more seriously than most. Following Andrew's disastrous 2019 BBC interview regarding his association with Jeffrey Epstein, William reportedly urged both King Charles and Queen Elizabeth to remove Andrew from royal duties entirely, insisting on decisive action rather than quiet damage control. At the time, his concerns were largely resisted. The late Queen remained protective of her son, while Charles struggled between family loyalty and institutional survival, but William continued pressing senior figures, convinced that failure to act would eventually threaten the monarchy itself. By 2019, Prince William had already warned senior royals that the monarchy's relationship with the public was hanging by a thread and that protecting the institution had to come before protecting any individual, even family. At the time, those warnings were largely ignored, but by 2026 they had proven prophetic. With Prince Andrew arrested and King Charles battling cancer, William is no longer the heir quietly waiting in the wings. He is now widely seen as the decision-maker. Over the past 6 months, he has reportedly led every major move regarding Andrew's stripping titles, removing him from Royal Lodge, and severing his remaining ties to royal life. This is not simply Charles acting alone. It is William shaping the strategy, with a tired but clear-minded king allowing it. To understand why this transfer of authority is happening now, one must consider the immense burden on King Charles III. He became monarch in September 2022 at age 73, the oldest person ever to ascend the British throne, after waiting longer than any heir in history. Yet just 17 months into his reign, in February 2024, he was diagnosed with cancer. Though the exact type was not disclosed, treatment began immediately, and he continued public duties throughout 2024 and 2025 while quietly undergoing care. Then came another shock. In March 2024, Catherine, Princess of Wales, announced her own cancer diagnosis following abdominal surgery and began preventative chemotherapy, stepping away from public life for months. This left the monarchy in an unprecedented position. The King and the Princess of Wales, two of its most vital figures, both in treatment at the same time. The pressure at the top of the institution was extraordinary. Reports suggested that by 2025, Charles was already considering transferring significant responsibilities to William, recognizing that despite having waited his entire life for the crown, the future stability of the monarchy might require his son and daughter-in-law to assume effective control sooner than anyone once expected. Although palace officials publicly denied rumors of a rapid transition of power, their actions suggested otherwise. In 2025, King Charles granted Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, the authority to issue royal warrants, the power to officially endorse brands and products on behalf of the crown. While this may appear administrative to outsiders, within royal tradition it represents a significant shift, as monarchs have historically guarded this privilege closely. Granting it to William and Kate signaled that real authority was already being transferred. Increasingly, William has moved beyond the role of heir into that of partner and, in many cases, decision-maker. Royal sources indicated that Charles was actively guiding William through major decisions because the monarchy's future now rests heavily on the Wales family. The unspoken reality, however, is difficult to ignore. Charles is 77 years old and undergoing cancer treatment, meaning succession planning is no longer theoretical but unfolding in real time with immediate consequences. This urgency has made resistance from Queen Camilla particularly significant. William's broader vision goes far beyond crisis management. He aims to reshape the monarchy into a modern, structured institution operating more like a professional organization than a tradition-bound family enterprise. Inspired by the royal foundation he runs with Kate, complete with leadership structures, transparency, and measurable goals, William wants clearer accountability and zero tolerance for the secrecy that has allowed past scandals to grow unchecked. In a 2025 conversation with actor Eugene Levy, William openly acknowledged that reform is part of his agenda, though balancing change with tradition remains challenging. His management of the Duchy of Cornwall already reflects this philosophy, with insiders describing accountability and public benefit as central principles guiding both William and Kate. Yet this modernization effort has exposed deep internal tensions, particularly involving Queen Camilla. Her long-standing friendship with Sarah Ferguson, former wife of Prince Andrew, has become a flashpoint. William reportedly believes the monarchy must make a complete and visible break from anyone connected to Andrew and the Epstein scandal to protect public trust, especially after documents revealed Ferguson had past financial communications with Jeffrey Epstein, though no criminal wrongdoing was established. Camilla, however, views the situation through the lens of personal loyalty, maintaining a friendship that began decades before royal life. To her, abandoning a lifelong friend over association alone feels unjust. The conflict raises a difficult question at the heart of the monarchy's current struggle. Should personal loyalty outweigh institutional survival during a moment of crisis? Or is William's more corporate, image-focused approach necessary for the crown's future? Even when Camilla supported stripping Andrew of his titles in October 2025, reportedly motivated by her advocacy for abuse victims, her actions reflected a slower, more personal approach, contrasting sharply with William's push for swift and decisive separation. Tensions escalated further when Queen Camilla attempted to publicly demonstrate her support for abuse survivors by meeting French survivor Gisèle Pelicot in February 2026, only to face intense backlash online. Critics accused her of hypocrisy, arguing that public advocacy loses credibility when paired with private friendships linked, even indirectly, to scandal. The reaction strengthened Prince William's position, as he reportedly made his stance unmistakably clear: there could be no exceptions, no family loyalty, personal history, or lifelong friendships allowed to jeopardize the monarchy's credibility. Anyone connected to the controversy, he insisted, must be distanced from the crown, and if Camilla could not accept that approach, he was prepared to limit her influence and wait until his own reign to fully implement reforms. This ultimatum marked an extraordinary moment within royal dynamics. While William's disagreement with Camilla centers on strategy, tensions between Camilla and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have become more personal and potentially more significant. Sources claim Kate has played a central role in managing the fallout from Prince Andrew's arrest, coordinating palace communications, consulting legal advisors, and helping implement William's crisis strategy, effectively acting as a co-decision maker rather than a ceremonial supporter. Reports suggest this growing influence has deepened Camilla's resentment, as she allegedly views Kate's leadership as undermining both her and King Charles by implying the current monarch cannot manage the crisis alone. Yet Charles reportedly defends Kate, emphasizing that her involvement strengthens the institution rather than weakens it. Public optics have reinforced this shift. Following Andrew's arrest, William and Kate appeared together at key engagements projecting stability, while Kate participated in crucial palace meetings and helped shape official responses, whereas Camilla remained largely absent from the public-facing strategy. The contrast has highlighted an evolving reality inside Buckingham Palace, the future of the monarchy increasingly represented by William and Kate, while Charles and Camilla confront the difficult transition of becoming the generation passing authority rather than defining it. By late February 2026, this slow-burning conflict between William and Camilla had reached a decisive breaking point, signaling that the internal power struggle within the royal household was no longer private but fundamentally reshaping the institution itself. Prince William reportedly delivered what royal sources describe as a firm ultimatum to Queen Camilla, making his position unmistakably clear. She must publicly distance herself from Sarah Ferguson or risk further damaging the monarchy's reputation at a moment when public trust is already fragile. This was not framed as a gentle suggestion or a diplomatic appeal from a future king navigating family sensitivities. It was a direct demand, signaling just how dramatically the balance of power inside Buckingham Palace has shifted. Traditionally, heirs do not issue ultimatums to a reigning queen consort, yet insiders claim King Charles has granted William final authority over decisions related to the Andrews scandal and the monarchy's public image, effectively deputizing him as the primary decision-maker during the crisis. While Charles supports his son's strategy, Camilla reportedly does not, creating a rare and striking division within the royal household, a reigning monarch aligned with his heir against his own wife. Palace insiders suggest there is now a clear internal understanding that rebuilding public trust after the damage caused by Prince Andrew is William's responsibility, and those who do not align with that mission regardless of rank or relationship are gradually being sidelined. The question facing the palace is whether Camilla will ultimately comply or continue resisting, potentially deepening the rift and forcing Charles into an impossible public choice between loyalty to his wife and support for his son. At the heart of this moment lies a broader transformation, as William's vision for the monarchy's future is already taking shape. His expected reign points toward a smaller, more streamlined royal family with fewer working members, stricter control over representation of the crown, zero tolerance for scandal regardless of status, and a shift toward a more transparent, merit-based institution. In this framework, Andrew's removal was not an isolated event but a test case, one that will shape how every future crisis is handled and redefine how the monarchy survives in a modern world. The courtiers who have long operated in the shadows, making decisions behind closed doors and prioritizing tradition over accountability, are set to see their influence diminish under a King William. Decisions will increasingly be made with clarity, ownership, and measurable outcomes principles William applies to the Duchy of Cornwall, much like a CEO runs a company, demanding evidence and holding people accountable not for intentions but for results. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is central to this transformation, already functioning as a strategic partner and poised to become a more active, publicly influential, and institutionally engaged queen consort than Camilla has been willing or able to be. While Charles remains king and Camilla remains queen consort, the center of gravity has shifted. The critical decisions are now being made by the next generation, with Charles's support, and the palace is operating under a new reality. The coming months are crucial, as the Andrews scandal is far from over, criminal charges remain possible, and new revelations continue to surface. Each development reinforces William's authority, because in a crisis, people turn to the figure projecting confidence and a clear plan, and that figure is increasingly William. The monarchy's survival now depends on demonstrating accountability, visible reform, and a credible break from decades of behavior that allowed scandal to fester. Public support, particularly among younger generations, is fragile, with a YouGov poll from early 2026 showing historic lows among those under 45. The transfer of power is already in effect. Charles retains the throne in title, but strategic authority, crisis management, and the decisions shaping the monarchy's future are now William's domain, supported by Kate, while Camilla's resistance, understandable on a human level, is increasingly a rearguard effort against a tide that cannot be turned. The institution is reinventing itself, not neatly, not peacefully, and not without personal and familial cost. but it is changing under William's leadership, backed by his wife, and driven by a belief that the monarchy must evolve or risk consequences far worse than any scandal. The stakes are enormous, and the questions remain. Is William right to push this hard and fast? Is Camilla wrong to resist? And could this pressure force Charles to step aside sooner than officially acknowledged? The answers are unfolding in real time, and the British monarchy of 2026 is being rewritten before the world's eyes.